This is Shadow of the Beast. Why am I focusing on this game? Because it was review number 68, and that marks the halfway point of TurboViews. It's hard to believe that we are already halfway done reviewing every single officially released TurboGrafx game. Well, to celebrate the 5th anniversary of TurboViews and to take a look back, I rewatched all 68 reviews. And we are now going to revisit some of them in a little segment I like to call Halfway Retrospective and Revisit. Let us begin, shall we, with some Keith Courage in Alpha Zones. It's extremely nostalgic for a lot of people, including myself. It was the first game that most of us played on the TurboGrafx. When we got home and we put the TurboGrafx box down and got over the fact that Zach Morris was all excited and happy in the corner, we pulled out the system and eventually pulled out Keith Courage in Alpha Zones, because it was the pack-in game, you know? A lot of people would leave comments or are surprised that I'm such a huge TurboGrafx fan, and yet I don't really care for this game. But I don't hate it, and that's where the disconnect happens there. I don't hate it. When you fast forward and get to the end of the stage, you end up putting on the Nova suit and turning into this awesome robot. Or if you're a Pat the NES Punk fan, Frank. Then we go into the underworld part of the game where it gets really, really cool. And here, Frank goes around and he attacks enemies and collects hearts to replenish his health and eventually gets to an end boss at the end. I played through the entire game this time because I really wanted to beat it and give it one more shot. And check this out. This is the end boss of the entire game. He's not moving. I kind of inch forward to see if he's going to come after me, and he doesn't. So I attack his feet, and nothing happens. I attack the top portion, and boom, he's gone. Freeze. I don't want to show you any of the ending or anything. But I beat the game without really having to do anything here at the end. I looked it up, and apparently this is a very well-known glitch in Keith Courage. I had no idea. I have always beaten it just, legitimately. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. Now, the game is a pretty good length, and the underworld stages are pretty cool for the most part. There's a lot of really neat stuff going there. I also have to say the colors are awesome. If we're talking about showing off the TurboGrafx color palette capabilities, well, this game definitely did that. But the game doesn't have a lot of really great level design. I just had the same issues with this game I always had, in that I like it for a while, and then, I don't know, it just gets repetitious. The overworld does mix it up with an ice level and a volcano level and some stuff upside down. I like that, but those areas are so slow. The underworld is really fast and kind of cool, but then you have some weird platforming that doesn't work, or some spikes that just instant death, and characters that are reused over and over. I tried, guys. I really tried this time to love it, and instead, I felt it was kind of average. I can't recommend Keith Courage. It's just an average action game, but I don't hate it, and I just want to go on record as saying that I don't hate it. But I also don't love the game. And if you do, awesome. Kill a couple guys with some guns on their head just for me. Alright, let's move on to another action platform game, JJ and Jeff. Now, I normally use JJ, but this time let's select Jeff from the title screen, who I'm not a big fan of, and see how far we can get. See, Jeff here, he slides a lot, and he runs a lot faster, which really doesn't help much in this game, but the biggest problem with Jeff is his jump is really sharp. And since JJ and Jeff has some really tricky jumps, especially in the later stages, oh my god, it is really difficult to control him sometimes. And it just doesn't, I don't know why. I just never thought Jeff played very well with the particular layout that this game has. This is a very nostalgic game for me, even more so than Keith Courage. It's a very early game that I got from my TurboGrafx, but I mean, you have to love old school action platformers, that's for sure. The big characters I like, and the music is just awesome. I always loved the tunes in this game. But what's great about JJ and Jeff for me is the amount of hidden stuff that's everywhere. I mean, there's hidden coins and food everywhere, and little bathroom signs. Oftentimes you have to kick something in order to make a platform appear. Not to mention finding the key in the third part of each stage is necessary. So in order to progress through the game, you have to literally kick everything, and for some reason that really grabbed me. See, once again, I'm having some difficulty with Jeff. I'm getting better at it, but he's just jumping around and just falling a lot. And I don't know, the game... Okay, stop. I beat the game as a kid with Jeff once. This is as far as I want to play with Jeff. The game just doesn't seem like it was made for him. I'm not sure why. Let's play with JJ one more time here. Now that's better. He just runs at a more normal pace. He seems to kick things quicker. I don't know why, but the controls with JJ are just much better. And to be honest with you, I ended up playing with JJ all the way to the end and beat the game. Stop! I don't want to give away any endings here, but that's the final boss of the game. He is on his way to Dead Meat Deep 6. It's over, pal. You're out of here, bub. The groundhogs are bringing his mail. It's time to get dangerous for some Darkwing Duck. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. So, I'm going to give this one more shot. I think it's only fair that I do that, right? Yeah. So we're going to play the game on normal here, and we're going to see if I can get through it. When I was younger, I couldn't wait to get this game. I can't put it into words how excited I was to get Darkwing Duck. And I don't know, I got the game in and I hated it. You know, when I go back and watch my original review, I'm brought back to this sort of angry video game nerd flashback. It was an early review and I was still trying to find my voice, you know. I just found that when you hate a game with a passion, that just kind of comes out naturally, you know, so it just happened. I started to read my script and I would just get more and more mad. And freeze. This is as far as I got. I actually got through maybe 70% of the game for this playthrough, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I thought, you know what, I did this already, I'm moving on. Because I got the same sense of disgust and frustration that I get every time I play Darkwing Duck. The colors are gorgeous, the animation is great, the characters all look like they're characters from the show. I think the graphics look pretty good, there's some nice multi-scrolling going on, there's some pretty good detail. I mean, they did a nice job with the look of the game. The problem is, and it's really hard to get across, control issues. The bounce technique you will get after a while, but then it's still never accurate. The hit detection is awful. I mean, not just for the enemies you're attacking, but for also yourself. You'll just get hit no matter what. And the biggest problem with the game is the jump. The jumping is terrible. There's a delay, and he goes in a weird direction, and he's hard to control mid-air. And once you get to these little tiny jumps throughout the stage, you are screwed. All right, that's enough depression, huh? Let's get into the 5-star games really quickly. These are games that I gave a perfect rating. Now, there are a ton of games that I recommend and love. These just happen to fall in that perfect 5 out of 5. Dungeon Explorer 2. This is a fantastic game that is Gauntlet mixed with RPG mixed with action-adventure. Now, the original Dungeon Explorer is also fantastic, especially for an early TurboGrafx game. This one took everything I loved about the original and multiplied it. There's a lot of enemies and bosses and bases that remind me of Gauntlet. A lot of great characters to talk to and places to roam. Let's not forget, much like the original, the great multiplayer option. And the Super CD adds a much broader scope to the game, as well as CD quality music, which is fantastic, and some great cutscenes. Oh man, Dungeon Explorer 2 is just phenomenal. I love this game. Now, unfortunately, it's a bit expensive today. I can't recommend you spend the money on it, but if you can track it down, play Dungeon Explorer 2. Devil's Crush is a pinball simulation on the TurboGrafx 16, and it is one of my favorites ever. As you know, I'm a huge pinball guy. I collect and I play, and the Crush series back on the TurboGrafx really captured the physics and the awesomeness of pinball while also adding some stuff into the game that you can't quite do on a regular pinball table. It has 3 levels of gameplay, it has a whole bunch of bonus stages, and it has really great ball physics. And let me tell you something, now that you can save your progress, you can come back to the game later if you're having an awesome play and you're this close to getting a billion and beating the whole game, which this guy will never be able to do without a cheat. But I love Devil's Crush. At the time, the best pinball simulation I had ever played. Pick it up. East Book 1 and 2. In reality, this game I don't think needs any introduction. It is an epic role-playing game / action adventure for the TurboGrafx 16 and considered by many to be the best game on the entire system. To be honest, I don't think I can argue with that. It is fantastic. It is 2 games in one, Book 1 and Book 2, which is twice as long. And I can't say enough about it. You walk around towns, you talk to people, you buy stuff, you upgrade your weapons, you attack enemies by bumping into them, which is kind of goofy and a lot of people hate that, but you'll get used to it eventually. And it's just a small thing in an epic game. The CD quality music is fantastic. It's just a phenomenal game. And trust me, they knew what they had because they packed this game in with the TurboDuo. So, East Book 1 and 2 for the CD-ROM system. You'll love it. Gate of Thunder. The Thunder games on the Super CD for the TurboGrafx are fantastic. Lords of Thunder is an awesome sequel to this, and it's really tough for me to choose between the two. I love them both. Gate of Thunder is a blast and has everything in it that I love about shooters. Now you guys know that the TurboGrafx has shooters coming out the wazoo, so there's plenty to choose from. Gate of Thunder has fantastic level design, has some really awesome bosses, has some great power-ups. The stages change from one thing to another in the middle, and when you toss in the CD quality music, which is phenomenal, and the cutscenes that appear here and there, it's just a fantastic game. Gate of Thunder was not sold in stores. It only came in a CD case with Bonk's Adventure and Bonk's Revenge and a hidden Bomberman, but if you can find it, pick it up. And speaking of Bonk, we have finally Bonk's Revenge. The Bonk series in general is great. There were 3 of them on the TurboGrafx. In my opinion, however, Bonk's Revenge did it best. It took everything I loved about the first Bonk game, multiplied it, and made it even better. There are a ton of items to collect. Bonking enemies on the head is so satisfying, and I can't explain it. You just have to play it for yourself. The end bosses and the enemies all have such a great personality, and I think that is my favorite thing about the Bonk series. The personality, it's quirky and it's fun, it's a lot of fun. I love this series. Pick up Bonk's Revenge. You will absolutely love it, and then grab the other 2 because they're also great. In fact, I ended up playing this one all the way to the end, and look, I beat it with 1 hit left. Phew. When Super Adventure Island was released for the Super Nintendo, I was the first in line to buy it, and I enjoyed that one as well. In fact, I was first place in Electronic Gaming Monthly's High Score contest. You know, I never did receive my team jacket or my game of choice. I even wrote to EGM asking them about it. They never responded. You know, that sucked. The Versus mode is for a 2-player game, so all you'll need is a turbo tap, a second controller, and a bud. Well, got the first 2. Let's move on. You know what I like to do during the dead ball period? This. That deserves a celebratory spin. Oh.
Hey, you guys.
This makes ball control extremely easy. There is a group calling themselves the Mega Load Masters. Load. So it will always be available when in need of a sugar rush. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Okay, oops. All right, maybe a little sooner. All right, a little sooner still. There we go. Take care of this guy. And, oh, come on. All right, we'll go right to the edge. Seriously. Okay. Okay. Yes. No. You get stuck on things often. I mean, look, what am I caught on? Then, when you're finally set up for a shot, something chases after you. Oh, those dogs. Don't even get me started on those dogs. Oh, and the monkeys. Don't get me started on the monkeys. Oh, get off of me. When you reach stage 6, for a split second, there is an explosion of parallax scrolling. As if the creators sat around and said, "Oh, hell, we didn't put any scrolling in this one. Oh, well, there you go. Done." Oh, come on. Oh, come on. What? Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Cotton is just not addictive enough to make me suffer through it anymore. So, that's about it. Ah, damn it. I did it! I beat the second pass! Ha ha! Nobody else really cares, do they? I have had some people ask me if I could do a walkthrough of the games I review, so since it is the holiday season, this one is for you guys. Get a pencil. Get the Chalice of Agony from the first boss, use it on the lava to make it solid and cross till a pool. Go to Uria's shrine. Get the Manipula herb from the second labyrinth, give the herb to the princess to cure her, and she takes you to the oracle. Pour the Chalice of Agony on her, and she opens the staircase to the next area. Find the Moonbeam Moss. Save the old labyrinth adventurer guide to get the rainbow drop, visit the cobbler to get the snow boots, get the aqua lung from the fourth labyrinth, use the aqua lung to pass the underwater levels. Defeat the Kraken, talk to Jazeta, get the Sword of Legends, find out Princess was kidnapped, go all the way back to Uria's shrine, use the Sword of Legends on the altar to reveal the passage. Meet the weapons maker who will upgrade your sword if you bring him the Sunflame. Find the hidden old guy for lightning staff, save the girl for the flute of Murdoch, get the bell of heaven, ring the bell to find the Sunflame, use flute to awaken the ice giant and get the yellow medallion. The weapon guy now upgrades you to the sun sword, visit the scientist to gain entry to the volcano mouth, defeat the salamander for the red medallion, kill the blue blob to get the blue medallion, reveal and enter statues, save princess to get the green medallion, and finally place the medallions to reveal Dirth's lair. Micro Machines sold separately. Beating Superstar Soldier in my lifetime was just not meant to be. So, case closed. See, I beat this as a kid, and now I wish I had created a physical map to make this playthrough much easier. Ah, well. You know, it's funny. I remember typing something similar to that in my review of it for the underground newsletter I did way back in high school. Yeah. Wait, what's that? I actually drew a map and published it in the whole time it was right here. I gotta go. See what I mean about frustration level? And you all know me, I'm genuinely pretty calm. Oh, come on! Damn it! What the f***? Yeah. Alright, since we are talking about the Bonk series, let's revisit quickly Zonk. This is a game that I always loved because it was sort of the futuristic iteration of Bonk. Except this time, instead of an action platformer, it was a shooter, or a cute-em-up, as you could say. This was my second review ever. And in my old review, I kept saying power-ups, power-ups, power-ups. And it's true. This game has so many power-ups, and you can sort of experiment with them all. You have that little character that kind of joins you. You can merge with him and have this awesome superpower, and they're all different. I love flinging out the deck of cards. Don't ask me why, it's just really cool. So the game is really about power-ups, and as I'm playing through this again, I'm really enjoying the same aspect. I mean, I just love the way the game looks. I love the multi-scrolling backgrounds. It's just a phenomenal game, and it's a near-perfect game. I almost gave it a perfect rating. You know what's funny is when my friends would come over to the house, they would always gravitate toward my TurboGrafx, because none of them had it, and they would always play Zonk. They loved the game. My buddy Don used to sit there and play it over and over and over again. And I can totally understand. It has such a great personality, and it's fun if you like shooters. I beat this one as well, and interestingly enough, I beat the game on my last hit, just like Bonk's Revenge. So boy, I've been cutting things really close in this video. Alright, let's go from shooters to action platformers once again. Two of my favorite action platform games, Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu and New Adventure Island. I want to play these both really quickly because these are some favorite action platform games of mine on the TurboGrafx, and they're ones that I have a lot of fond memories playing. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu, I used to play on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I loved that, and once I became a fan of Jackie Chan's, much later, I started to really appreciate the games, and now I love them even more. To me, Action Kung Fu is a near-flawless game. It has a couple things that almost got it perfect. It was so darn close. But I love this game. It has a lot of great personality. It has a lot of Jackie Chan sort of trademark humor in it, and a lot of really cool action in it that Jackie Chan is known for. You know, a lot of stunts, a lot of great stuff. It's kind of unique. It has some weird enemies, and it's a really great upgrade to the Nintendo version. Very colorful, very fun, and again, that was an upgrade to the NES that I really loved. And here is another one, New Adventure Island. This time, it's Adventure Island, but a completely different game. It's not quite flawless, it has some real issues, but it looks really good, it plays really great if you're a fan of Adventure Island. I mean, it plays exactly the same. You hold the run button down to run, and that same button also attacks. You can grab the skateboard, you can find a bunch of power-ups and different kinds of weapons along the way. I mean, it's very similar to the Adventure Island experience we've always come to love. And I used to play Adventure Island on the Nintendo a lot, and when this version came out, I could not wait, and I really wasn't disappointed overall. And there were two action platform quickies. Why did I want to revisit them? Because I just really like them. Now it's time to quickly revisit a whole bunch in a row, starting with Monster Lair, and I'm revisiting each one of these for one specific reason. In my review for Monster Lair, I said that jumping over the large rock was impossible, period. And I had a lot of people say, "What are you talking about? You can jump over it, you moron." So I've started the game up. We're going to play into the third stage and see if we can jump over the rock. And we accidentally got the invincibility, but let's see if we can jump over the big one. And it looks like we might be able to. Okay, let's try this again. This time we're going to skip the invincibility, and we're going to jump over the... Oh, okay. I guess you can. Whoops. Fighting Street. I mentioned how awful the controls were, and in the corner in a little window, I showed myself trying to do the controls, and I compared it to Street Fighter 2. Now granted, they are different than Street Fighter 2, don't get me wrong, but I didn't say that they were the same. I just said how Street Fighter 2, it was real easy, and Street Fighter / Fighting Street, it is not. And I had some people say, "Well, why don't you just learn how to do it, dummy?" So, I'm giving this one more chance. We are going to select 2-player so that we can play against each other and practice the special moves. You have to hold the button down before you press the sequence, and then you can make the special move happen. If I keep practicing and practicing and practicing. The uppercut move, I could not get this entire time I was trying to get it. It's just no matter what I do, it is a 20-25% average of actually pulling off the special moves. And by the time you figure it out, the enemy has already trounced you. So some of it is the game itself, some of it is the TurboGrafx adding an extra delay. Sorry guys, you are not going to convince me that the controls are good here, so... And since I'm getting heated up and in a bad mood, why don't we try some Deep Blue and see if it's any good, because it usually is not. No, this game is lame, I hate it. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on to something better. This is Buster Brothers, and there's a reason why I wanted to revisit this really quickly. You know, when I have a two-player option in a game, I try to show a little bit of it because, you know, it's part of the game. Well, Buster Brothers is a two-player game, and my buddy came over, and I was able to capture some footage for my review with the two players. Later, he came over again, we played all the way to the end with two players, and we dropped the controllers, and we high-fived, and we said, all right. And then all of a sudden, this rocket ship showed up and flew off into space, and we ended up in this other stage, and all these little balls were falling out of nowhere, and we died and died and died and died. The footage you just saw was the second time we played through it and tried to capture that stage so I could have it for something, because I didn't know that existed. And again, we didn't do any better that time either. My point is, I wish I had known this before the review, because I would have added this, that there's more to the game if you play two players all the way to the end. Really cool. And finally, here is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective for the TurboGrafx CD. In my review, I talked about the London Times and how they came packaged in with each game. Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't find my original ones, which is why I did not show a live action shot of it. But look at this. My buddy got me a brand new sealed Sherlock Holmes, and we're going to crack the seal, and we're going to open her up brand new. So this is kind of neat because, number one, you get to see a brand new game opened up as if we just bought this off the shelf. And number two, we got the London Times. Finally, my Sherlock Holmes is complete. Let's dive into the last game I want to talk about here and now revisit, Magical Chase. Now, why do I want to talk about this one? Because have you seen the prices on eBay? Oh my God. So, because most people will never be able to play this in person, here is the game live in my hands. Here is the instruction manual. And man, I'm afraid to touch this thing. Let me tell you, it is ridiculous how much it goes for. Magical Chase has gained a really big reputation for being one of the rarest games. I don't really know if it's the rarest game on the TurboGrafx. I think some of that is hype, but it commands a big price. And the nice part is, it's a great game. It almost got a perfect rating for me. Almost. The multi-scrolling is amazing. It's fast-paced. It never slows down. The colors are awesome. And this was a good game to show off your TurboGrafx 16. The way that you move around the stars is really complex, and when I tried to play it this time, I'll tell you what, stop. I beat it, of course, got to the end. I'm trying not to show you endings here, which is why I keep freezing everything. But when I played it this time around, it took me a little bit to get used to how the stars actually moved around. I honestly could not remember how it worked. But I'll tell you what, once I got the hang of it, it's just really neat. It's a great strategy of how you move those guys around. I can't say go out and buy it, to be honest with you. Do not spend the money it goes for. Nothing is worth the kind of money this goes for. But you know what? If you can find it some other way, somebody has it, definitely play Magical Chase. All right, well that was a lot of fun. This is Chris Bucci for our halfway revisit up to review number 68, and we'll do one of these again when it's all over.